videos have anything political that isn't hard left, they will demonetize you straight away. So you have to be, you know, like the Greens Party and stuff like that here, you have to have all of their views if you're going to put something political, or they will demonetize you like that straight away. So if you say something like, oh, Donald Trump's actually doing an okay job or something, all your money's gone. Get rid of you straight away. So it's always best to just have nothing political in any of your videos. Just training stuff. If you're going to do something about how to make
a juice
with a bike, just that, yeah. So for me, with this music stuff, it's just music. No opinions on any bike. Yeah, well, that's what he did. He made juice with a bike. You just sat there and did it. Didn't you see that?
Yeah, that's what I did. Yeah.
You didn't see it.
That's not the proper title.
You sat recycling.
No, I just put for fun, and I like.
That's my favorite video right now. I just said it's my
Don't do it, Shane. Come on. You'll already learn.
I'm gonna put that. That's gonna go on Reddit.
See, I think when you make like genuine content, it's worth it.
That is good. Like, what's wrong with that? That's fantastic. I've never seen somebody make a juice with a bike. That's funny. And it's not funny. We're not like laughing at you. It's so, oh man, how funny is that? And you did it. But you just say that. I mean, I wouldn't get on that. I'm not that. So I'm gonna put it on Reddit.
No.
So you might get like a couple of million views.
Everybody should click that like, right? And then you can
Yeah, I've already
increase
done it.
Yeah. Maybe has a chance to get money from Google.
It's his name.
From YouTube, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay, I just filed a case, so the Wi-Fi should be coming up later.
Don't worry about the case, just go next door and remove that.
Where is the router?
It's next door, isn't it? Oh, no, that's the access point. I'm serious.
Reboot it
Yeah.
router?
Yeah.
I don't know where's the router.
Ah, you cannot find that label somewhere.
Okay. Later.
Are we able to continue without it, or?
Yeah, we just continue to finish up some of the slides. Yeah, because it will coming up sooner or later.
I can share my hotspot.
You would like to do the lab now, or you would like to go through some of the slides?
Let's go through this one.
Yeah, slide.
And then back up.
Okay, now let's finish up this. In this chapter, we still have one topic to go. That is overlay mapping. Now, I would like to say that that is one of the most important function provided in the cloud. Because again, you need to know how many traffic in the overlay, how many traffic in the underlay, how they are mapping together. If you enable the overlay mapping function, which means by default it is not enabled. If you enable it, then you should be able to see something like this. You will be able to see a topology in your underlay. For example, you have a router, you have the switch, you have the computer node. As you can see, we have the compute node in here. And on top of the compute node, how many virtual machines over there? Now, you may be thinking, oh, that's easy, right? Now, imagine that if this is a mouse. If I mouse over to the link over there, it will pop up window, something like this. It will give you the traffic of the link. If you mouse over to here, it will pop up another window telling you that the traffic, what is the underlay traffic. So that is very useful, especially if you want to manage the hybrid cloud. So all you need to do is to enable it. Here are some of the essential steps. First, the SNMP collector module pool the physical router, which means in your physical device, in your underlay, the SNMP need to be enabled. That is one of the protocol. Second, in order to collect the information, that is the flow, the traffic flow. So you need to also enable with the IPFix and the S-flow protocol. That will allow you to collect the information from your infrastructure. Third, the topology module read the SNMP and LLDP information. So again, you need to enable the LLDP, but don't worry about that because by default, Juno's device, LLDP is enabled. And then the control user interface read and display the topology and the statistics, just like the previous slide we have seen it. Now here is something that would like to give you some extra information. LLDP, everybody knows that, right? LLDP is standard, similar to Cisco CDP. But Cisco CDP is not a standard. But when we talk about the LLDP, we have two different versions of LLDP. One is standard LLDP version. Another one is extension. We call it LLDP MED. Now, as an engineer, when you're doing the operation in the low level, you might want to know what's the difference between the LLDP and LLDP MED. For example, if you have a switch with the PoE interface, you connecting to the IP phone. Then the IP phone, when somebody offload the IP phone, can say hello. Okay, that voice will be transmitted into the packet, but the packet will be transmitted through the line from the IP phone to the port with VLAN tagging. But your IP phone, how does the IP phone knows what kind of the VLAN should be tagged into the packet? So at the very beginning, your switch port, the PoE port, need to be enabled with the LLDP MED. LLDP MED, at the very beginning, it will send an instruction to the IP phone, say, hey, IP phone, let me tell you, in the future, if you are going to send me the traffic, please tag in with the VLAN tag. So you need to first configure the voice VLAN in the switch, and then that VLAN ID will be told to the IP phone by using the LLDP MED. And then the traffic will coming up. But also, in the meantime, you not only tell the IP phone what is the VLAN ID, but also tell the IP phone, when you send me the traffic, you need to tag the COS in your header. So when the traffic comes to me, I can, based on the header of the COS, to internally categorize that information into different categories. So I will be able to do the QoS. So when we talk about the LLDP MED, please just remember, LLDP MED allows you to deliver two types of information from your switch port to IP phone. One is VLAN ID. Another one is COS information. Okay, so just please keep in mind that. Okay, so here are some of the commands that for you to be an example to put in the Junos device. For example, to enable the SNMP, set an SNMP community. You just enable the public. You don't have to enable the private. The authorization is read-only, so which means allows the Junos contrail to read that information from your device by using the SNMP. Second, you enable all the port with the LLDP and also the LLDP MED. But just like I said, normally you don't have to put this. These two commands are already there by default, unless you have deleted the default configuration. Now if you want to collect the information, you need to put it back. Third, you need to configure the IP fix or SFlow, one of them. Okay, so you can collect the information from the device. And then after that, you need to go back to your control web UI. In the control web UI, you can go to the configure under the physical device, physical router. And then you can here add a button and click the physical router. So why do I need to do that? If you go back here, I told you how to configure this, configure that, but here is only say, hey, you need to enable, but I didn't tell you how to enable, right? Because there are a lot of configurations. So here is an easy way. You don't have to go to the command line to put the command. You come back to the OpenStack, the control. You use the GUI configured in here, and those configuration, the SNMP and the IPFix, will sending to the device, will push to the device. So you automatically configure by using the control. You don't have to manually configure that. And then you can also use the API to configure that part of the configuration as well. So here are some of the information that allows you to collect the information after your configuration by using the API. And then, okay, now since everything has been configured, again, including what? Including the SNMP, LLDP, LLDP-MED, IPFix, or SFlow, right? After you configure that now, you should be able to go to the GUI interface in the monitor. And here, you can click infrastructure physical topology, and then go to the topology. You should be able to see your topology in here. Now you can mouse over to any part of the topology to see the statistic or the traffic flow. And then, just like I said, you can mouse over to the link and it will pop up a window and also give you the statistic. And you can also adjust the range of the statistic to see the more detailed information. You can also trace the flow. Wow, that's very interesting. For example, you will see a lot of flow over there. Each of the flow represent from which source for which destination. But for example, if you say, okay, I can see the source address is 192, destination is another 192. I know from one device to another device, but since your topology probably complex, so can you tell something to me whether this traffic is passing through the compute, passing through the MX, passing through which device, and eventually reach out to which device? So we can click the gear in here and select one of the function we call it trace flow. So the trace flow will give you the whole path. It's very useful.
Is it based on layer 2? MAC addresses?
Based on the LLDP you just enabled, and based on the SNMP, and it will tell you which port that you're receiving that traffic.
So it's similar to layer 2 MAC trace, yeah?
Can you
Similar
tell
to
similar to layer 2 MAC address?
MAC trace.
Oh, MAC trace.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Very similar to that.
But if there is an MPLS in the middle, you're not going to be able to do that.
Anything in the middle?
If there is MPLS in the middle, MPLS in the middle, you're not going to be able to do that.
Oh, you are talking about the inter-data center?
Yeah.
No. Yes, you're right. It's only in intra-data center, not inter-data. Because in inter-data center, I'm not going to trace to the third-party web. So you can map the flow, okay, and also you can query the information by providing some of your criteria. Right, and some of the troubleshooting in the underlay. If you don't see that screen, then you can use the sudo and execute the command to analytics the information by specifying, tell me the control status, and to see whether the status of the SNMP is up and running. Okay, so that's the information for this chapter. We call it overlay, underlay mapping. Okay, try to remember that keywords. Let me take a look. Not coming up yet. Don't worry. Okay. Now let's move on to chapter 14. All right. Chapter 14 talk about the network automation using control cloud. In this chapter, we are going to explain the need for control security, discuss multi-dimensional firewall policy configuration, use tag and labels, and discuss the traffic visualization with control security. Now we will only focus in here, control security. Again, two types of the security policy you need to configure. One is network policy, another one is security group. Network policy will be used to handling the traffic between the virtual networks or inter-virtual network. Security group policy will be used to handle the intra-virtual network, which means the traffic inside of the virtual network. So how do we do that? We need to provide some kind of the security between the tenants or inside the tenants. There is a word, we call it a term, we call it micro-segmentation. There are so many words in the cloud. Can anybody tell me or explain to me what is the micro-segmentation?
You told us what
You mentioned before.
Yep,
micro-segmentation.
no problem. Let me first let you know who invented the micro-segmentation. VMware. And VMware invented that word. But eventually everybody used that word, okay? But the term micro-segmentation, what is that? If I'm talking about this is an HP server. If you have a hypervisor, the hypervisor in here is just like a virtual switch. So if you have a virtual machine connecting here, they are in the same subnet 10.1.1.0/24, for example, that one and that two. Normally, based on the basic network concept, you will see that VM on the left and the VM on the right connecting in the same subnet, and between them, they are free to talk to each other without any restriction. But if you want to isolate from each other, then you will normally connecting like this. You will have to connect a virtual router. And the virtual router mapping to one interface in here, and another virtual router interface mapping to the VM. So we have different tabs. And then between the tabs, you configure a policy. But you need to know that when we talk about the virtual router, that is because we are talking about the control. Virtual router is part of the control components. When everybody using the cloud, they not necessarily use the control products. So there is no virtual router probably. They only has the private hypervisor. In VMware, they provide the security natively in the hypervisor. So they can provide the security between them. And the security can be a very easy ACL or even a firewall. So in that case, you can imagine that this is a layer 2 firewall connecting to each of the devices. So this is a segment, but we do furthermore. We provide the security. So each of the interface just like a standalone domain. So they call it micro-segmentation, right? But since we are not using the hypervisor security, we're using the virtual router. So we provide the policy instead of providing here, we provide in here instead. Okay, so we can do the micro-segment, of course, but there's another way to do the micro-segmentation. That is, you can have a hypervisor, you can have a virtual machine. And then let's say that you have another virtual machine in here. And this virtual machine is VSRX. And then you can mapping the interface to have interface, have interface, have interface. But you can configure to allow the VM, for example, the left to the right, has to be passed through to the firewall and go to the right virtual machine. So we can do the micro-segmentation by using the VSRX. Right, so let me ask you. Sorry for that. Yes. In Juniper Contrail, there are how many ways you can implement micro-segmentation? try to answer that. That would be one of the questions. One, natively provide the security in the vRouter, right? Second, implement a virtual machine, for example, BSRX. Okay? So if I change another question, in the cloud, there are so many ways to implement the microsegmentation. Give me 3 examples. Then not only this, not only that, but also including this. Yes, also including the hypervisor. So focus on what the question asking. Okay, if the question asks you for contract, choose. If the question asks you for the cloud environment, infrastructure, give me all the answer, including the hypervisor itself. Give me a second, sorry.
I can share my hotspot.
Can you share?
Yeah.
Okay, I think that would be a good idea. I can also share because I have the Wi-Fi.
Where's the router?
They're always just up. Okay.
Next door.
What are you looking for?
Router.
The router probably not in the public area.
Yeah, it'll be just in like a little comms room.
No, so there's a office space just on the other side of the street.
Yeah.
Should be somewhere there.
Is there somebody else here that we can ask? Was there anyone else floating around here? Or was
Yeah, there's.
You can go upstairs, upstairs there of their office. Someone should be there.
Is going to ask for someone about the Wi-Fi? Maybe we can do the lab. You can share your Wi-Fi. I can also share with my Wi-Fi. Okay.
I also got a bunch of users in the chat.
Okay. Let's first connect to the Wi-Fi. If you would like to connect to my Wi-Fi, I'm showing it to you. My SSID is JNCI, and the password is lab 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, please try. If you would like to connect to my Wi-Fi.
Not connect to my Wi-Fi.
Now I'm already using.
Oh, I can just use my own as well. I've got it on phone.
Okay, yeah.
Because it's going to get really bad if we're all on one.
Not really.
Even I can use on phone. But
You can use your own phone. Okay, no problem. Yeah. So if you can use any way to connect to your Wi-Fi, please, how about let's do the lab?
yeah.
Yeah.
Let
me show you
You're
the
connecting
lab.
to this?
Okay. Otherwise, I can hop off. I connected you. I can hop off and connect to myself. Anything's all right.
Just connect to your Wi-Fi.
Okay.
Start. Transfer and disconnect to your.
Where's the turn?
to keep in wait. Let's do the lab 9 and lab 10. Using control analytics and analyze traffic flow with control. Lab 9 and lab 10. All right.
Where does this internet come into it?
Lab 9.
Lab 9 and 10.